What's up? Got Steve here today, and he's going to be helping me elaborate on XYO and explain what exactly we're doing and trying to accomplish. And at the same time, we'll be hooking up the XYO bridge. Hey everybody, it's Rugged Rose Review, and today I want to set up my XYO bridge, my Raspberry Pi, so I can start sending the data from my Coin app and Sentinels to the bridge and the network. And I thought, who better to ask than Steve G? And here he is. He's going to be helping me out today. He's going to be helping me set this up. How you doing, Steve?
Doing good. Doing good.
Got you sitting here over in my chair. Today I wanted to set up my bridge and show other people how to do it, and I figured we could inform a lot of people and answer a lot of questions from this perspective, from somebody that's never set one up before and from somebody that's done it and taught other people to do it. And Steve has agreed to help me make this video and do a little collaboration, and without further ado, we should probably just get it started, right?
Yeah, sounds good.
What are we doing, right? What are we trying to accomplish with XYO? I'll ask you, I'll let you, since you seem to know a lot more about it than I do, and you've given me a lot of good advice and have been all year long. So, what are we mining? What are we essentially doing here?
Okay, we're not really mining in the traditional sense of other minings. What we're doing is we're creating a network of data, and it's mostly coming from the Internet of Things. But to keep it simple, when you get a mining kit, you end up getting 8 sentinels, and they kind of look like that. So you get, right. And they have different colors, absolutely.
Yep.
And then what happens is those relay basically through Bluetooth. Those will go and get information from other sentinels, and they will also upload through a phone or through the bridge that we're going to set up. And bridges are the next phase. So the first kind of soldier on the ground is these sentinels. The next one up is they report their information up to a bridge. Once you get the bridge set up correctly, it will relay information into a archivist. And what that is a fancy word for it's archiving data. So it's just taking all that data and putting it out on inside a database that lives out on the internet at many different locations. And while it sits there, we have the fourth and final step of the network, which is a diviner, and that's a fancy word of someone that makes a request. So as an example, if a sentinel, right now they're not collecting temperature that I know of, but in the future they're going to, let's just say one of their sensors is a temperature gauge. If you took temperature at my sentinel, where I'm at, and temperature at your sentinel, it's going to be different information, different data. I walk outside, my sentinel records 73 degrees, and I walk down to the store and somebody else has a sentinel, and they interact, and they said, hey, what's your temperature? It says 73. It says, yeah, I'm getting about 74. Okay, let's agree on 73.5, and then they both sign that packet, and then it gets uploaded to a bridge when you go near a bridge. Your bridge that we're setting up today will be when you walk back in your door and it's sitting always on, it will grab that information and it will relay that up to an archivist so that it lives there. So within, as soon as that data gets up there, you'll have somebody that's a requester on that diviner that says, hey, what's the temperature in Phoenix, Arizona? And it says, it'll look out across all the archivists and come up with the best answer. And maybe my answer is one of the better ones. And so then, because they made a request, they had to put XYO on the table, so to speak. They had to request with, say, 200 XYO for that answer. They get their answer, and then the XYO gets divided back to amongst the people that provided the answer. So the archivist was sitting there storing the information, so they get a cut of it. The bridge, if it went through your bridge and my bridge, both our bridges would get a small cut of that. And then your sentinel, my sentinel, or my neighbor's sentinel would all get a cut of that. So now it's going to do that in a very big way, because it's not going to just want my one sentinel down and yours. It's probably going to look across many sentinels. So you might be getting fractions, and that's the kind of the mining, because then you're going to get like, oh wow, I didn't do anything, but somebody must have asked for my answer. And so I have a sentinel, and for some reason it just made 0.000235 XYO. And so over time, my account would now start to grow because I'm collecting data and people are using that data, if that makes sense.
So who would be asking for our data? Who wants the data?
So over time, our first level is we need to get geomining kits out there, and we need to start to collect the data and get the network set up correctly. And today's video about setting up the bridge, you're part of the actual setting the initial stages of the network up. It's growing very fast, but as it grows, we're getting more and more data on there. Once we get the data up there and everything gets solidified, more and more people will now come. It's almost kind of like that, build it and they will come. So if who might want the data? Well, temperatures. That could be maybe a weather, a weather station, maybe a government facility, maybe somebody that says, I wanted to know what the average temperature was before that tornado hit. It could be a highway department that says, I want to know how many people drive up and down these roads on a given day. It could be a business that says, I want to know how many times a sentinel has stayed for more than an hour in one of our restaurants. It's big data, and it's just whatever they want to do with it, but they don't know that it's your data or my data. We're not saying, hey, this is Steve G's data. It just says, this is data that we are all around and we're giving off.
All right. So if you don't get it now, will you ever get it? Thanks. And yeah, that's basically why I was getting into it, is because, everybody wants data, right? We do it all the time. We're always researching data, right? We go on Google every day and we research some form of data, and it's out there and people are giving it out for free. Why not get a cut of that by coining?
And another neat little interesting fact is we do that. You're absolutely right. But I always refer to it almost like Web 3.0. What happens is I can research a lot of things, but it's input usually by people,
right,
and articles and blogs. But what happens when I actually get on this internet in the future and I say, how many people have Whirlpool refrigerators in the southwest region of this country? Well, every time someone went by with a Sentinel and they picked up a Bluetooth signal to a Whirlpool, that's part of the data. So that could help me on finding out those answers. But it doesn't tell me that, Sue Jones has a Whirlpool refrigerator. It just got picked up by some XYO, like from a Bluetooth signal. So we're going to be actually being able to query machines, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the possibility, and it'll be a lot of fun doing it. That's my fiance. She's over here clowning around. Thinks she's all
hi.
You can come say hi. He was trying to explain himself. It's too late now. You've already been on camera. He's already seen you. You've already been busted. And then you thought you were off camera, and she wasn't. She was just ducking.
No worries.
Yeah. I'm going to put you on there, too.
Or is it here?
It's here. No, it's everywhere.
Okay, well, I'm out of here.
But yeah, it's exciting stuff. She's out of here.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm glad that we got to explain it, elaborate a little bit to what we're doing. And anything that we just didn't cover, well, Steve didn't cover when I asked him, is on the Coin app, right? There are a lot of useful tips and information on there that I saw yesterday, and that's worth a shout out, I think. All right, so we got our bridge.
Yeah.
And do we want to take out the old? And I've never set this up with the old SD card.
Okay. So let's just take it from that first step right there. One thing that you want to do is, most people either have it plugged in or not plugged in. They either have set it up or they haven't set it up. Obviously, we're going to start from where you're at right now. But if someone has their bridge plugged in, the first thing you want to do is disconnect the power before we do anything else. So just make sure your power is disconnected to the bridge.
That's right here.
Just so it doesn't have any electricity going to the bridge, because you know as you pull that disc out, you don't want to have any static shock.
Yeah, because all this is just a little mini motherboard with a program running on it.
Yep.
All right. So we're not plugged in. Now we want to take out that SD card, right? The first one.
Right. So real quick here, I went ahead and got one of the bridges here, and I pulled it apart.
Okay.
Just to kind of help you through this. So obviously this is kind of what the bridge looked like. And I'm going to go ahead and remove the top cover.
There you
go. Okay. And then what we're really doing is it's not on the top part here. Sorry, I'm trying to do that. Good. It's not on the top part. What it is it's going to be on the bottom. So I went ahead and took the next ones out. And so what we're looking for is at this very bottom right here, that's the SD card that you're actually pulling out. And it just barely sticks out. If you look on the back side here, it barely sticks out. And you've got to be able to reach in there and be able to grab that and pull that out. Okay, so I'll show you this other side again real quick. Now, you're going to be able to do this without opening this up. I just wanted people to be able to see that this is the SD card that you're going to be putting in or out. And when you reinsert it, make sure that you get on this shelf inside here, because, let's see if I can. Yes, right underneath here, you can kind of see that little opening. That's where that's going to go into. So. Yep. So just go ahead and pull that out.
I'm going to go ahead and use some tweezers. I have some tweezers here.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I'm just going to go in here and pull that guy out. All right. Small guy. Now, let's talk about this big SD card. This one.
Okay.
This is the one they sent, right?
Yeah, so what's happening is I think it's for a protection standpoint, but they have been shipping some of them. Like, obviously, I had in my video, I basically was showing them a small SD card. I was like, yeah, this is what you need. And then people were actually receiving a larger one.
Right.
And if you look at it, it's actually the small one rests inside the small one, so as you pull that out, it's inside there. So if you get a big one, don't worry, just go ahead and pull the small one out, because that's what you need.
Now do we have our new SD card in, or no we don't, but we're going to put it in there.
Okay, and just make sure that the copper contacts are facing upward towards the board when you slide it into that small slot that is attached to the board. There's a big opening there, and I've a couple of times have missed that little slot and just basically dumped my my SD card right into the casing.
The pin's facing up.
Yeah.
And then you just go ahead and kind of push it in there.
Yep.
And now that's in there. Now we want to probably hook up a monitor and a keyboard. And the mouse.
Yep. Go ahead and hook those up.
Yep. And it probably doesn't matter which one you hook it up in, right?
No, it does not.
One of them?
There's 4 USB ports, and you can put them in any one you choose. It'll pick it up.
So we'll put the mouse in the first top right, left, stage right. Let's say stage right. Alright, so we have that hooked up in there. Now we want to hook up our monitor.
So it's also good to note at this time that once you get all that stuff plugged in, your HDMI cable and all that kind of stuff, before we power up the actual bridge, it's good to actually power up your monitor. So make sure the monitor is on and powered up, even though it won't have a signal yet. And the reason being is when the actual software starts on the bridge, it will actually help fit the screen better. It'll size it correctly instead of being oversized or undersized and having pieces of the menu off of your screen.
Alright. Makes total sense. Alright, so my screen is on. Right? Have my screen on.
Okay.
It's powered on, waiting for a signal. I have my mouse plugged in. I have a keyboard plugged in. I've installed my SD card.
It's kind of like a decision point in the sense that you can have this bridge hooked up with an Ethernet cable, or you can have it plugged in later. We can put it onto your Wi-Fi. So either way, you're going to get an internet connection because it needs the internet connection to move the data up to an archivist. But you don't have to do that right now. But if you already have that cable available, you'd want to plug in that to your bridge just so it's available for the bridge.
So I got about 100 feet of it. So we're plugged in on that side. And we will plug it into the back of our bridge. Right here. Now we have to plug in the HDMI.
Okay, so after you have everything plugged in, your cable, your keyboard, your mouse, and your HDMI that goes to your TV or monitor, then the only thing left to do is to go ahead and make sure that the power is plugged in, and then it will automatically start up for you.
Alright, so last step, this is your power cable. I'm going to plug that in. Down here in the bottom of this. Or nope, on the side, right by the HDMI.
Yes, correct.
Mini USB. Alright, we have now powered up our bridge.
And it will go through a boot up sequence. And they have a nice little splash page when it first comes up. It looks a lot like the XYO Network app icon.
Yep. See it there? I wonder if I can. Let's do this. And then I can probably move you up.
Yeah, no worries.
Put you up here. Maybe I can share this screen down here.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
So load it up. Oh, it's a little bright.
Yeah, it's still loading. Just takes a little bit of time. And it starts initiating. Okay, so this is like one of the most important parts, and it's not really discussed very much. And this is the part right here. When you first go ahead and read what's on that screen, what it has there. It's got a
the XYO bridge. It says enter password and confirm password, and then continue. But we've had a lot of people have problems with this, right?
Yes, because this is when you put this password in. This one at times was just discussed like, oh yeah, you can put whatever, don't even worry about it. But what happens is this exists now. This is actually the local one for the bridge, but it affects other things later. So yes, it doesn't matter on the front end, but you're gonna you're going to save yourself a lot of headaches logging in to claim a bridge later. So what we want to do is on this first page here is when you do the inner network, you want to put your network, your XYO network app password. So you usually have a email and a password that's associated with coin, and it's also the one that usually you're using for your XYO network app. And if you have two different ones, just go with the one that is hooked up to your XYO network app. The reason being is this bridge is going to transfer that information over to your actual network app, and you're going to be able to see this second bridge show up on your phone.
Wireless mouse will work.
Oh, nice.
So it's a bonus. Because my old one with the wire was not. So you can't see my password, right? Good.
No, it looks pretty. Yeah, it looks pretty whited out from my standpoint.
All right, so
And just know whatever you put in there, if those two things match, it's going to let you in. I mean, it's not like, you know, you're not going to be able to log in.
now what if I say don't save this password? What if I say never save it? Instead of hitting
That's
save.
fine. That's fine, but it's already now saved to your local Pi. That's what I'm saying. Like,
So
okay,
save
so
it.
up in the right-hand corner, I can't see it from this angle, but I'm thinking, did something gray pop up and say
Save
save this password?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that gray box up there, it has the password you just gave, and then it also has says username.
Yeah,
That
but-
becomes confusing for people. So when you put that in that username, what I suggest, if everything's looking good and you put in the XYO network app password, it's already got it saved in there on dots. Go ahead and put in above it that username, put your email address you use for the Coin app and the XYO network app. Put that into that box for username. And I'm sure they're going to be working on making this stuff a little more user-friendly in the future, hopefully.
Yeah, this is like fresh out of the box.
Yeah,
And
but that's also, a lot of people forget, this isn't a Best Buy or an Apple type experience. This is a startup company constantly working on their software and their Sentinels and just working, you know, this bridge thing's brand new, so you got to expect a lot of things, but then we're early adopters,
Right.
and we're in this very beginning. One day it's going to be like, plug this into the wall, and now you have an archivist, you know, and people will be like, this is so easy. I should have done this 4 years ago when you were doing it. And you're like, yeah, I was never like that.
Yeah, it was way tougher. And that's why I like it too. There's a challenge to it, you know, and there'll be a big reward because it's a big risk and it's a big project.
Yeah, if one day they're going around there plugging in stuff and they're getting archivists and they're doing all this stuff, that's going to be a wonderful day, because at that time they'll probably have to go around all day to make like 2 XYO, and they'll be so happy because maybe the XYO price will be so expensive. And meanwhile, we were picking up 40, 80, 100, 200, 500 a day, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of which, I've gotten a lot since I've got my Sentinels in my mining kit. And the bridge doesn't increase anything you mine, right? It's just
No,
always,
it does not.
Yeah,
It's just a relay, yeah.
Yeah.
Your phone or this one we're working on is just a relay.
So I want to capture some of this screen.
Yeah.
All right. So we got my screen up here. Now there's a public key. If I want to log in this here, well, should this public key match any other key that I have, or there's a connected archivist already?
Yeah, as a default, it will come with, you can go ahead and click on that archivist, and it will give you the address to it, and it should be alpha-peers.xyo
Okay, yep, it is.
network. And then the port on it should be 11000.
Yes.
Yep. And so that means it came stock. You don't have to add an archivist, but as things go on, you could always, like, say you build an archivist or you have an archivist in the future, you could point it right to your archivist. So you could have all your data going just to your archivist, so that you get the credit for the Sentinel, you get a credit for the bridge, and you get a credit for your archivist. So that when somebody pulls your answer and your data, you got all 3 parts of it.
Okay. Nice. And this one's mine already. I already have this. So don't
Yeah,
remove it.
It's all set up correctly right now. That archivist is probably about the only archivist that's currently working correctly on the Dynamo database, and that one goes right into XY at the company. Nate and Carter, and Ari, they maintain that, and they've been really making this thing way more scalable because they saw so much data coming in, and they're like, hey, we need to make this even a better database. So they reworked that, and they're getting even greater results. So that one you're hooked up to is perfect.
Cool. So now I just log in?
Okay, so on that gray box, you went ahead and put in your email address at the top, right?
Yes.
Under username.
Yep.
And then what it did is it took your password and it took your email address from the username and it placed it inside Claim the Bridge boxes, didn't it?
And then,
And you said save.
oh, yes.
And
Yep. Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, so it's now in there. So now what it is you can go ahead, and this is the moment of truth, so to speak, this is when you're going to claim the bridge. So
Let's see what happens. Rugged XYO, that's my name.
boom. So you got everything right.
Yeah, nice. Good.
So now you're good to go on your bridge.
Awesome. That's all it takes, right? That's all it
Yep.
takes to set up. And then I'll go on to the network, and maybe I'll mess around on there. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. We did what we said we were going to do, unless there's another point.
But like if you did that on your other thing, you could just double check and make sure it's all there. But yeah, it'll show up as a second bridge on your XYO network app on your phone now.
Okay, so if I plug my mouse back in here, log back into...
It should already be there because it doesn't require
I
that.
bet you I had it open before I claimed it, I think, looking for my
Oh,
password,
okay.
and it probably needs to reload. So I'll
Yeah,
close it out and go back in there and see what happens. Because now I'm signing back in. Yeah, let's just make sure of that. I don't want any questions after we sign off. This app does kind of take a little bit. There it is. Yep. Got 2 new bridges. I'll take a snapshot of that.
Nice.
Yeah. I have 2,429 cryptographic bound witnesses.
Nice.
Now,
You don't want to see mine.
yeah, I saw it. I think I saw your tweet this morning. That's pretty crazy. How many? Now, are you using multiple devices?
Nope, just
So
one.
just the one?
I'm at 38,655 right now.
That's awesome. Now, what is that? That's how many Bluetooth devices you came across with your Sentinel?
Yes and no. It's just transferring of data right now. So one site, and it would be too deep to go into right now, but basically, it is when the phone and a Sentinel transfer data, and when you do that often in a lot of different strategic ways, then what happens is that number keeps building, and then that lends to your credibility. It's kind of like a credit score. So if me and you are both standing on the same corner and we pull out our Sentinels at the same time and we both record 73 degrees, and that was the data that was needed for that corner, then they would take mine over yours because they'd say he's been doing it longer or whatever. So the reality is it doesn't matter because we're all in it so early that we're always going to be more and more trusted as time goes on, as long as we don't do anything to hurt the network. And that's why we have to be very careful on the things that we build and the things that we interact with the network, because we would never want to get kind of alienated and say, okay, you're a bad actor in this network. We always want to do positive, good things, and yeah, and then it just gets so robust. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Steve. That was great.
Okay, take care.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.